weekly advisor roundtable where we share ideas, discuss trends, and learn from one another as we work to attract younger clients into our luxury travel business and build those clients for life. As always, this is intended not to be a webinar, but more of an open discussion from everyone. So I love hearing from you. Even if it's words of advice or your opinion in the chat box, we let ask questions, share throughout. Feel free to interrupt me, but grab a coffee and let's get started. So today I thought we could talk about one of the biggest misconceptions in sales. And I think when advisors are thinking about wellness, their first thought is, I need more leads. How do I find new clients? How do I spread the word about my business to bring in new people? But I was thinking last week, and I'm your name in your seat. So think about your database. How many clients of yours have adult children, friends that they travel with, younger siblings, colleagues? Maybe they've recently begun celebrating something big this year. These are huge opportunities for you to step into the advisor role and recommend possibly a new travel style for them, or find they're like my favorite clients when I was an advisor. The referrals of the people that you already have within your database that know you, trust you, have traveled with you before. So sometimes we become so focused on finding new clients that we overlook the relationships that we've already built. The average traveler client, I don't think they wake up one day and suddenly become, a luxury traveler, or maybe even reach out to a travel advisor. Happen in life, there's going to be and make some recommendations and become that advisor of a new client, possibly within your realm. So can anyone think of a good example of if this has happened in their business before, or a strategy that has gotten you a referral of someone traveling with you?
We got a family on the Douro Discovery cruise with Tauck right now. They're wrapping up July 3rd, and it's the parents have been longtime clients, many with Tauck, and their children are sailing with them, and then their teen children.
Wow.
So it's a group of 10 right now, and they are having a great time.
Amazing. Yeah, and once those kids experience those things in life, it's going to be really hard for them. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I was just going to add that I find my main more to do that, because I think people think of me, one, or they'll call me for a group tour, and then I know that they go elsewhere, like for a career, or only use me for something super complicated, and then I find out they went off tours.
Like, no, I wanted that booking.
So I only need to say more, to the existing people. And then I did have someone call me for one yesterday. I asked if they had anyone that wanted to go with them, because it was like one couple going to, and I said, do you have anyone else that might go? And couples, I'm still going to try to get to throw it out to more people. But anyway, so I agree. I need to do that more for people.
Yeah, you have anyone that wants to go with you? What an easy question when you're booking, and you could miss out on 2, 4, 6. I was just doing a land forum last week or the week before for Avoya advisors, and we really focused on, these advisors were really strong at booking cruises, and how do they start to talk to their clients out. And, I was on a panel, and another BDM said, they gave some really good advice, and they said, if you're advertising on your social media or do a blog or anything, you need to be saying, I sell X, I sell Y, because just like I said, Sam, people eyes in a wide variety. So that's great. Hey, Robin, thanks for joining me. Okay, so I've got just ideas for you all. I'm a list girl. So I put together 5 places that you all can look within your existing database of clients on where you could start to look today for potentially new business. I'm kind of a little biased towards the younger demographic, so I'm going to put in some of those as well for you guys. And then we've got some just discussion questions. We can kind of open it up and see what you guys think. So number one, Gary, this one, children of existing clients. So I like to think of how many of your best clients have adult children that maybe you've never met. Maybe you've booked them on their trips for years and years to come. You know, if you send thank you notes, start sending one to the kids too, if they're of the age, even if they weren't the ones that booked it. Say thank you for traveling with me. And start to think, you know, could you ask your clients, hey, I hope your kids plan their next big adventure? You know, not pushy or anything like that, but putting it out there that you also work with younger folks and would love to help them book their next trip. Empty nesters. This is a great life stage because I feel like a lot of change happens in people's lives around these times. And especially if, you know, they've been so focused on parenting, they suddenly, now that the kids are out of the house, have time, disposable income, some freedom, and definitely that attitude of, hey, what do I want to do next in this chapter of my life? So these are great examples of how someone's travel style might change almost instantly overnight. So maybe they've been traveling in a particular way with you for many, many years because they have their kids. Now all of a sudden, boom, they're ready for something different. That's one of my favorite opportunities there. Number three, Sam was kind of hitting on this one, friend groups. So luxury travelers, you know, they rarely travel alone every single trip that they take. So definitely, even if you ask your clients, hey, who are you traveling with these days? Or like Sam said, is there anyone else that you would like to go with you on this trip? Great opportunity. Those friends could potentially become clients too. Number four, milestone birthdays. We know that milestone birthdays often trigger bucket list conversations like, hey, what are we doing for the big 4-0, the big 5-0? I'd even count 55 in there for my Rome by Tauckers. Of course, you guys know a big one too for your luxury clients. So don't be afraid to offer something above what your clients normally do for those special occasions. Number five is my favorite, clients who have outgrown their current travel style. So maybe clients used to cruise, or they used to just book hotels or cars or FIT with you. I think I mentioned this on my last call. Think of yourself as a traveler and how you've graduated throughout your life to different travel styles. Even if someone's been consistently booking this with you, it doesn't mean that they're not ready for the next recommendation. And if you guys aren't recommending it to your clients, you can bet their friends are. They're seeing it on social media, or they're getting an email from a supplier or something. So it's a conversation worth having. And, you know, if you're not comfortable recommending a full step up, you know, start with half a step and see how your client responds. And even if you try it once and they, you know, say, no, we're still comfortable with how we've regularly been doing it, the next time, don't be afraid to offer it again, because I bet one or two of, you know, half of the couple or someone's been thinking and saying, oh, like Robin actually recommended something really nice to me last time we talked. And, you know, this trip was good, but like, I think I want to try what she recommended next time. So, okay, some discussion questions. I'd love to hear from you guys. I've seen a few more people have joined, but I've asked, have you ever gained a client through another client's family? That's number one. Has anyone successfully booked someone's kids, and how did that conversation go? I think that that's probably an interesting one to hear if anyone has successfully done that. So feel free to hop in.
So Jen, it's Adele. Our new, the CRM that we switched to about a little over a year ago, now tracks by traveler email or markets via traveler email versus just profile email. So now for the past year or so, we've been marketing to those adult children because we always captured their email address, but our traditional CRM only marketed to the main profile. And now with a tweak with the new CRM, we're actually e-marketing out to those adult children. And so at least they know who we are. They're hearing of us. And the more we reach out to them, hopefully that sticks with them. Our business is virtually all repeat and referrals. So we already get, we don't do a lot of outbound cold call marketing, but like you said, tapping into that database that we already have and what does that look like? So the next step is we are working with the CRM to target by age group. They don't have it tweaked yet, and our database is very big, so we can't just go in and sort. And sort. But it's definitely on the implementation list that we've put to them for future releases that we can then sort by that age. Who has kids? Are they a good Bridges fit? Who's in that middle category? Are they a good Rome fit? So that's kind of where we're at right now.
No, that's amazing. Not just organizing your clients by lead, traveler, or who's booking, but having profiles for everyone. I love that. I hear often, and Tauck kind of went through this as well, that, hey, we can't sort our, database the way that we would like to target different markets. Because you're right, if we're just sending one thing out to everyone, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. Can we, send more targeted groups of information to these different demographics that would be more effective and relevant? So I love that tip. All right, I got to scoot over here and check my chat box on the computer here and see what everyone's saying. Anybody else have success booking kids of some of their clients?
Well, I'll just throw in that, I used to sort of not want to because my initial kid requests were so basic, post-college kid, things that I really didn't feel like I could help with that much. But now they're more like honeymooners. And so I still was fearing the honeymooner client just compared to, I'm used to older, older people who spend more. But the honeymooners are so cute and good, and they all tell their friends. So, it may not be like a Tauck tour that they're doing for the honeymoon, but some of my honeymooners that I reluctantly took ended up really sharing what they did and also referring a lot of people who then might take a range of trips, or then you get that person's parents. So I am not I now am open to younger clients because I feel like they weren't, but again, once they hit honeymoon age and then they start doing all those baby moon things and other trips. So
I think a honeymoon, that's great. It's a good gateway. I feel like then they have a budget that they're working with. They need someone to kind of help them. And when I was an advisor, that's how I really started building my business with the younger clients too, was through honeymoons.
And they're exactly so appreciative, right? They're so grateful. They pay planning fees and they're so they never ask any questions. They're very appreciative. Anyway, but for groups, as they get older, then they go away, they leave their kids. I don't know. It's not a bad group.
Yep. I love that. All right, let me see what my next, okay, have you guys in your day-to-day noticed what are some of the cues that your clients are giving you that they are ready for a different travel style, possibly going into the next phase within our travel cycle? Do you guys notice any keywords that someone might be saying to you, or how do you identify when you're ready to recommend something elevated from what they've typically booked with you?
I think sometimes when just, they're basic cruisers and they go to that next level, either, concierge on Disney, or they go to suite, or they're booking 2 rooms for, the family instead of just the one. It's not always just about price, but more about enjoying the experience.
Yeah. Well, and cruising makes it so easy because it's an obvious recommendation. You're still doing the same thing, but would you like something a little bit nicer? So that's easy to start to have those conversations. Have they taken it well, Kim, when you've recommended something higher? Have you ever had someone not take it well when you offer something higher?
They don't always take it, but nobody's ever had, pushback.
Yeah.
And I think, just planting those seeds, because eventually they are going to want something different, and the kids are going to keep getting bigger. They're not going to want the one person,
Yep.
inside stateroom anymore. So, I think it's just planting seeds.
Exactly. The worst they're going to say is no. And if you don't ask,
Right.
you won't sell it.
Exactly.
And I think people, like my clients, they just make up a price out of nowhere. Like, it's not based on what they're going to get for it, right? They think this cruise should be XYZ. And then this happened to me with a Tauck cruise, and it was more than they wanted. But again, like what they wanted, I don't know why I even listened to that. So in the end, that whole trip became this bigger trip because and they did post, and they totally could have done the Tauck trip. And I should have, mapped out all that anyway. But I do find now when I suggest something nicer, once they see it, I say, like, how did you come to that, like FIT, like, how did you pick that budget? And they're like, oh, it just seemed like the right number. And it's not like they saved up that number. So it is good. I am trying to show something nicer because they'll have a better trip too,
Exactly.
But I need to do that more. Again, with the Tauck, I still regret not pushing that Tauck one because I didn't want them to feel bad. I was like, oh, that's above their budget. But then the budget really wasn't a real budget. They just made it up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And our clients don't really always know, like you said, what things really cost. Of course, I was talking with my mom. She's trying to book a hotel to visit my sister who's going to college in New York City. And she's having decision paralysis because she wants the best location, the best view from her room, breakfast included, but the best rate. And I said, Mom, you can't have all of those unless you want to pay the highest price. She's like, well, why not? Can't I just find it? And it's no.
Right. They're I love Four Seasons, but I want to.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we all want to stay in the best hotel.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, so back to Adele's note on CRM systems. I know some of you work with a host agency, some of you are independent, but where do you guys keep notes about your clients' preferences? Is anybody using anything really cool right now that would help us sort of keep track of, hey, this is the level someone booked with me last time, so that you can be prepared to have these conversations in the future with your clients? Anyone using anything cool?
Ours is just all in the CRM.
Yeah.
Travel history, notes, all of that's right there in the CRM.
Yeah. Do you get any push notifications, Adele, or reminders, let's say for a milestone birthday? Do you guys do any outreach with your CRM or?
No. Yeah. Yes, I do get a list of who's got a birthday coming up. It's not necessarily a milestone birthday.
Yeah.
I would have to put that in as an activity or a reminder to come up and tell me.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, oh, our 70th is on November 10th, then I do capture that data, but I don't, unless I proactively said, oh, a year out, call them and see what they want to do for their 70th. Usually it's at the time of planning anyways.
Right. Yeah, totally.
When we were in Palm Springs earlier this year, and I did run a list of clients who were, celebrating their 40th or 50th or, 45th, whatever, and reach out to them. And I did end up with a Tauck River cruise booking from that. So it wasn't Rome because you didn't offer what they were looking for, but it was still Tauck. So
yeah,
so that was good. I mean, just, hey, I know you have this milestone coming up, and what do you think? So
amazing.
And then I really only offered them Tauck, so it made it easy.
You're like, well, I know it's special, so here you go. This is what I recommend. I love when you do the outreach because that's not always top of our mind. I always remember myself just dealing with what was coming in rather than, once a week saying, Jen, I need to be doing some outreach, 30 minutes a week, right? Just sending those emails. But if you can get a Tauck River cruise back from just, 30 minutes of an outreach there, and who knows where that will sprout from in the future. Just just think of the possibilities. Okay, has anyone had success on here? I know I keep going back to the adult children, but I think there's such an opportunity here for those folks. Has anyone had success specifically marketing to adult children? And if so, in what way? Is it usually through a phone call or an email? I know Adele, their agency does just general marketing to the adult children. I want to know if anyone's asked the parents if they can reach out to the kids. How did that go?
You know what? Sorry, I don't want to talk too much on this call. I feel like
I love it.
What I've started doing is I used to work with, say, the grandparents on a multi-gen, and now I've asked them to include the adult travelers on the Zoom, either along the planning or pre-departure. And so then I have them all on the Zoom, the adult kids, and then I get a little bit more of a relationship. And then I now write them directly, passport question, whatever, and then they write me back. Thanks. So it starts that dialogue. So I find that Zoom is a good intro to them, whether it's planning or pre-departure.
I love that. Starting that relationship.
Yeah,
so.
Versus going through the grandparents or whomever. And they like it too. It's like less for them to report back.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. Great tip. All right. If anyone else has some notes, I saw Luke put a little plug in for Rome in the chat. Thank you. Always thinking about Rome for those parents that need a vacation outside of their family vacations too. We know how valuable that can be. So definitely don't be afraid to recommend that for the parents outside of a family vacation. All right, so I do have an action item for you guys this week before we close up here. So like I said, if you have 20 minutes this week where you can spend on some of that outreach to that second layer of folks within your CRM, think about folks that you know who maybe celebrated college graduations this year and have become empty nesters. That's a good one. I know I've been seeing on social media lots of graduation photos. Those parents of adult children, look who's coming down on your list for final payments, where you're starting those pre-departure calls. Maybe ask them to have their adult kids join in on the conversation. Great tip from Sam. Traveling with friends. Who are you in the process of booking for that you can ask, hey, is anyone else going to travel with you, or do you want to invite anyone to travel with you? Sounds like we need a little sticky note right on our desk now for some of these questions. Those milestone birthdays, of course, kind of look ahead on your calendar for who has those coming up. But if you could just reach out to one or two, give yourself that confidence that, hey, it only takes a few minutes, but that outreach is so important for our business to keep growing and filling that back pipeline as our folks begin to travel. So I do have something special for today, too, before we wrap up. I know a lot of you have talked with your clients, this is a Rome thing, about Rome by Tauck, and have quoted it or suggested it as a travel style. I do have a survey where I'm trying to gather data on how some of those conversations went with your clients. So I'm going to send out a survey link. I am sending out some Rome hats for you guys, whoever sends it out. So be sure to put your actual mailing address in on the last question. It just comes from me, so you're not going into a little Tauck funnel or anything, but I'm popping it into the chat, and I will put it in our follow-up email as well for you guys. It's on SurveyMonkey. But I'd love to hear from you guys on how some of those particular Rome by Tauck conversations are going. So unless anyone has any other questions or comments they'd like to pop in the chat, I want to thank everybody for taking the time today. I hope our conversation sort of energized you and gave you a few ideas of how you can look within your existing database with fresh eyes. So next week, we'll be talking about why guided travel is growing and how to position it to travelers who don't think that they're tour people. Some of my favorite people here. So I hope to see you guys then. I host these every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard. Grab a coffee and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.